I can handle those glitches and those problems for them while they, take their family to the beach or go, grab a drink and some lunch.
So hey everybody, it's Jeff here of the Mentor Team with Realty Executives Cooper Spransey. I have the fabulous Billie Farrar with me today. Billie is a travel agent with Adventurous Travel, and she served as our travel agent during one of our wonderful spring break trips to Jamaica. That was an amazing time. And also a client of ours. Billie also lives in Oregon, has a family in Oregon, and we're just really happy to see her and have a chance to talk today. So Billie, thanks for spending some time here with us.
Thank you.
Billie, do you want to introduce yourself beyond what I shared? Anything that you want people to know about who you are or what it is that you do before we get going here with some other stuff?
Sure. So my husband, family, and I have lived in Oregon for, 8 or so years. My husband grew up here. We started our travel business. We're going into our fourth year now. We're a home-based business, so you're not going to see us in a storefront spot, but we operate out of our home in Oregon and easily meet people wherever it works conveniently for them, whether it's, in town or at their place of work, and just there to talk travel and put together fabulous trips for people, families, individuals.
Yeah. Which is exactly what you guys did, again, as I brought up earlier with our family vacation trip. And I know I hear countless stories all over the place of people who went on vacation and worked with you. Or I remember hearing stories of people who have gone on vacation, found out there's a glitch, and then go to you and you're able to fix the problem a lot of times for people and do some really cool things. So that's awesome. Do you want to maybe share with some people a little bit about what is your process right now? Not just right now, but what's your process in general? Like, 2 months ago, before maybe you were dealing with this 2 months ago. I don't know, but 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, before we were sitting here all quarantined at home and being told not to travel. What was your general process with helping people, and what was a good, what was a situation that people would want to connect with you and work with you? What's a good client for you?
Sure. Well, we're talking past versus present because we all live in a different world at the current time.
Can we start there?
Back in the normal times, word travels fast. So like you said, people talk, and I've gotten a lot of referrals from current clients, new people coming to me. They got my name through someone that they know. And so normally that process would look like a phone call or an email saying they're interested in a trip. And then I like to touch base with them via phone or in person if possible, if they're local, and just talk about what their vision of this trip may be, how many people are going, what they like to do while they travel. Are they looking to just lay on the beach, or do they want a set itinerary with a, tour of some kind? So we really I feel them out, ask lots of questions to figure out what they're looking for and what their vision is, so that I can customize a trip that would fit them. And so then I go back, I use my resources. We've got a lot of relationships with different travel companies and airlines and tour suppliers and things like that. And so I'll put together some ideas to send to that person. And then we just kind of narrow things down, and we tweak the trip until, it fits their vision. And I provide them with, all the information as far as the trip goes, protect them with travel insurance, which I always highly recommend. And then I, really take care of them from the beginning, until the end. You know, they get to their trip and like you said, there's a glitch of some kind. Then I tell them if that happens, please to contact me, because their job is to be on vacation and to be relaxing and having a good time. So I can handle those glitches and those problems for them while they, you know, take their family to the beach or go, you know, grab a drink and some lunch. And so I can handle those glitches for them, hopefully pretty smoothly, and then they can go on enjoying their vacation. When they get back, I always love to hear about it, see pictures, hear stories, and then we're always talking about what's next too.
Yeah.
If anybody's like me, before I even go on vacation, I'm always thinking about, okay, where am I going to go next?
Yeah.
So that's how I normally operate. In current times, it's been a little bit different. And so in the past month and a half or so, it was spring break time. And so there were a lot of people that were planning to go on trips. And when this epidemic hit and things started to close down, it became, well, it was a priority to get people home safe if they were out in their travels. And so her first priority was to get them home safely, whether it was the end of their vacation or right in the middle of it. So without too much trouble, I was able to get everybody back, and then began the process of things being canceled or needing to be rescheduled. And so that's really where the focus has been once everybody's gotten home safe is, all right, just kind of reorganizing and replanning these trips for a future date when it was going to be safe to travel again.
So, Billie, a couple things. Number one, I mean, going back to, you know, the pre-coronavirus days and kind of talking through your process. I mean, I remember Michelle and I came to you and we're like, yeah, we want to go down somewhere in the Caribbean, and, you know, we don't know where or what that looks like or how to do it. And you did a fantastic job of just kind of like walking us through a number of options and really diving down into what it is we were looking for, and helped us land in Ocho Rios. So, I mean, your process was like very good to kind of identify, you know, what are we looking for? How does that fit our budget? How we want to spend our vacation, all that stuff. It was excellent. But you brought up spring break, and with spring break, obviously that was a thing, but now there's a bunch of people that had summer vacation plans as well, right? Or trying to plan for the summer, or trying to plan for next year. How are you walking people through those future vacations right now when we don't really know what's happening? I mean, what kind of conversations are you having with people about future travel?
Well, the hardest part right now is just the unknown. When are things going to start to like approach more normal again, and what's that going to look like? Nobody even knows. And so I know there will be a time when things are clear for travel and people desire to travel again and they're not so hesitant. And so we're talking about where you want to go when you feel comfortable doing that. Right now, you know, in the next month or so, travel will not really be picking up quite yet. Borders won't be open and things won't be operating as normal, but people are talking about fall and holiday vacations, and there's weddings that I'm working on for early next year and next year's spring break. So a lot of people have said, okay, I had a trip planned to Alaska this year. This year's not the right time. Let's move it to next year. And so people are being really patient and knowing that this isn't my fault. It's not any one person's fault. It's just what's happening in the world right now. So they're trying to adjust as best they can.
What advice do you have for people who are, you know, wanting to get somewhere yet this summer? I mean, maybe it wasn't like a massive European vacation or anything like that, but maybe it was something, you know, more local. But just with what you're seeing with travel, what are your recommendations, and what's your advice for people looking to possibly have travel plans over the summer or fall, given the unknown? Is there any way to kind of plan for that without getting stuck with things? Or For example, let's like we were planning on going out to Oregon. Michelle's family, Michelle grew up in Portland, and it's been 2 years since we've been there. So we were looking at going out to Oregon, and we were kind of battling the back and forth of like, do we road trip it, or do we take a flight out there? Because we've done both, and now we're at the point, even for ourselves, where we're like, well, probably not going to be flying. We're just not comfortable making that call right now. But like, do we even go at all? And I'm sure there's plenty of other people in the boat that have summer plans to various places that they didn't put the finishing touches on, or they haven't, it's not like they have their flight tickets yet or had their hotels yet, but they were working on it. So what's your feedback for those people who kind of want to do something this summer, but just don't know if they can yet or should?
Yeah, great question. I mean, we've all been stuck in quarantine, so most people I talk to can't wait to get the heck out and do something. And so it really comes down to what people are comfortable with. There's going to be people who aren't comfortable with flying yet, and that's totally fine. There are lots of ways to get places. You can get there by train. You can get there by road trip. You can rent an RV and take a journey across the country if you want to. So I would say, like, still plan to do something and go somewhere. What I'm hearing in the travel industry is people are going to be most comfortable with staying a little closer to home once things open back up again. They're maybe not going to hop on a flight, to the Far East, but maybe it's going to look like some travel around the US or to places that they're most comfortable with. So I'd say, travel this summer is definitely possible. And if you're planning something, a lot of people are hesitant to commit right now because we don't know when, this quarantine, this stay at home is going to be lifted indefinitely. And so people have the vision, but they don't quite have a reservation for anything yet. But if you do, I would say stay flexible, keep it loose. Call me because I can help navigate through, hotels and different pieces of whatever vacation. I'm going to look at hotels that might have a refundable rate or flexible cancellation policies. So if something does come up, people have the ability to make a change to their reservation rather than, going with something that was non-refundable. Even within the US, travel insurance is still something that I recommend because you never know what's going to happen. Now there's lots of hotels and lots of airlines and companies out there that have had flexible policies and waived their penalties when people needed to change. So that's been really nice too.
Billie, you brought up travel insurance a couple times. And I know you guys had like a big experience with travel insurance yourself. Are you comfortable sharing a little bit about your story with
Sure.
at all, and kind of, maybe that's a big piece of travel insurance, not only the health stuff, but obviously the cancellation stuff and other things that come up, right? So do you want to touch on that with your experience, as well as when travel insurance is a good idea, or if you think it always is, and your viewpoints on that?
Well, before we got into the travel industry, it was hit or miss. We didn't always get travel insurance because we thought, oh, we'll be fine. Nothing's going to happen. And then came a time when my husband took a trip to Peru, and he was on a tour and having a great time, making his way through the Andes Mountains and, on his way to Machu Picchu. And he started to get sick. Didn't really know what was going on. He got so sick that they needed to bring him down the mountain. He ended up in the ICU in Peru by himself because I wasn't with on this trip. And turns out he was really sick. His organs were starting to shut down. He was suffering from like pulmonary edema. It had started with altitude sickness, and he didn't really know what was going on. Luckily, the people on his tour, the tour conductor, had gotten him to the hospital. where he, like I said, ended up in the ICU, and they were treating him with hyperbaric and all kinds of medication. He doesn't speak Spanish, so that was an issue, but got through it. He got word to me, and then I ended up flying to Peru to try and gauge the situation and see how sick he was and get him home. Long story short, he's still with us today, luckily. But thanks to our travel insurance, that covered his care while he was there. Now, cost of care in Peru is nowhere near what it would cost here in the US. But when I got there, not knowing, what his status was, and they said, oh, we're going to need a deposit. We need your credit card before we'll care for him. Well, I handed up over the credit card. It didn't matter how much it was going to cost to take care of him. I just wanted him to be safe and healthy and get him home. So we accumulated some medical bills while in the extra, 5 or 6 days he was there. But once we got back, submitted to the travel insurance, and luckily that covered us during our travels.
So not everybody is going to Machu Picchu and going to put themselves at risk for altitude sickness. But when you talk about travel insurance, I can see a lot of people kind of seeing it as this like unnecessary little additional fee and cost, right? And I understand where people are coming from. You're already spending a lot of money to go on vacation. It's like for us talking to people about the value of a home warranty,
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. But what's your general feedback on travel insurance? And, how do you advise people as to whether or not using travel insurance is a good idea for their vacation, or, whether it's something that maybe isn't necessarily the best use of their money at that time?
Well, there's a lot of different insurance companies. So the policies differ from situation to situation. So I give them a couple different options. And they choose what's best for them, or none of the above. So I'm not a licensed insurance agent. So my job is to provide them with the information. I can help them with any discussion points. I can point them in the direction to get more answers from a licensed insurance agent. But really, I want them to be protected, but to then ultimately choose what's best for them. And so because there's so many, even before this time of COVID, there's so many things that can happen as you lead up to a vacation. Like you said, you've spent a lot of money on, and if you have to cancel last minute without travel insurance, you could likely lose all of your money. So spending a couple $100 extra to give you that protection in case something happens before you go, but more importantly, if someone gets hurt, injured, sick while you're on vacation in another country, it's invaluable.
Yeah, we were thinking through that whole process. With our spring break trip, we were going to go to Gulf Shores, and we've kind of just always VRBO'd that. We go to the same type of place, the same group, the same company, the whole time, and once things started coming out that maybe it wasn't our best idea to go there. I started putting on the pressure of, well, look, we're not coming, let's get this refund. And there's a lot of pushback from the company. Obviously, they're going to lose a lot of money. I get it. I understand where they're coming from. But I think one of the things that for me, we did eventually get it, minus some administrative fees and a couple other things that, we didn't get back. But I think one of the things, for me is that if we would have had some travel insurance that maybe would have covered something like that, that maybe would have covered a unexpected cancellation, it wouldn't have been such a stressful situation for me to try to go through and solve and figure out and spend all that time on. I wasted a lot of time that week trying to get things done. And number one, I think that's an area where having somebody like you in your corner would have been helpful. And probably number two, I'm guessing, with the travel insurance, where I think about the fact that Our youngest, Ben, was really good at getting sick, like right before vacations for a while. It's like, at what point is he going to get sick, or is somebody going to get sick and we can't leave that day or whatever. So certainly put some value on that travel insurance. And I think it's worth a closer look for a lot of people, quite frankly.
Right. And I think moving forward, people are maybe going to give it some extra consideration if they haven't before, because if they choose not to, I usually ask them, well, what is your plan if something does happen? We all get, we get in car insurance, we get health insurance because we hope we won't need to use it. And so my hope is always that people don't need it, but just in case.
Yeah. And I guess kind of cycling back too, I think one of the things that I wanted to touch on with you is we do live in a do-it-yourself kind of world, right? Like I experienced that too, obviously, with people who want to sell their home by owner or use a discount broker, and so like big picture, not just now, but big picture, maybe touch on now too. What is your feedback for people who are like, well, I'll just when might it be a good time to just book a hotel and hop in the car and drive somewhere versus contact you and use your services that are available? What are some things that people should be taking into account when they're figuring out, is this something that I should schedule on my own, or is this something that I should really enlist Billie for?
Sure. And, everybody's comfort level is a little bit different. And so I've had people contact me to, do a car rental or just a hotel or something like that, which I'm more than happy to do. And I've had people, come together with me to sit down and plan every single piece of a vacation, from how am I going to get to the airport? Okay, when I get to my destination, how am I going to get to the hotel? Like, so I can plan everything from A to Z for them. So it's, it's a comfort level. How well traveled are they? So if it's something a little bit more complex and it's somewhere they've never been before, it can be really overwhelming to try and put all the pieces together yourself. And so that's, I always tell people I'll help you with as little or as much as you need. So they come to me with various itinerary ideas.
Billie, where do you see like your role, if at all? How do you see maybe your role changing moving forward, as well as like travel, period? I mean, do you see any changes coming in the travel industry, coming out of this and maybe sticking around? For example, in my industry, in real estate, where everybody's kind of now been forced into the virtual box, I think a lot of that is going to stick around. I think virtual tours are going to be more prevalent coming out of this than they were beforehand. I think the ability to do a couple things virtually and electronically that people may have tried to do in person before might stick around now that people can realize they can do things that way. So do you see any changes coming in travel in the future?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, what I'm seeing come out from the airlines right now is, an enhanced version of what's been happening recently with cleaning procedures and the way that crowds are going to gather. They're very much enhancing how they're cleaning the planes. They're talking about, spacing passengers out a little bit more. I think we're going to see more of that in airports and large areas and venues where crowds would normally have gathered. I think we're going to see a cap or, just a different way of people gathering, and people are going to be more cautious for a while. I think where, on large tours of, let's say, a capacity of 60 people, I think that's going to shrink down to allow people for the comfort to space them out a little bit more. So I mean, I definitely see travel changing to a more cautious, spaced out, more focus on cleanliness and disinfecting and making people feel that to know and feel that their surroundings are clean and have been well taken care of, and that their health is a priority.
Billie, you're a small business, right?
Yeah.
About as small as they come. There's been a lot of conversation lately about small businesses and supporting small local businesses. And, understandably so, a lot of people are looking at places like restaurants as a major place, and how can we support them and keep them going. But there's a variety of small business. I mean, we're a small business, like there's all sorts of small businesses in our town and throughout all towns, that are, quite frankly, being affected by this. What are things that people can do today to help support your small business, keep you going so that you're there for them and they're ready to take their next trip?
Keep thinking about not only the bars, the restaurants, the businesses like that we can easily frequent and support. Think about, all small businesses from a grand scope. And for travel, like, keep thinking about travel, keep dreaming about it. There will be a time when people are ready to go again. And that doesn't mean that you have to wait until then to call me. Let's talk about it now. Let's iron out some of the details now, and then it'll be easier to throw a date on it later. So it's not one of those things that you have to wait till everything clears up to start talking about. We'll start talking about it now. We can lay some plans in place for future. I have lots of people who have, like I mentioned, weddings and special events coming up. So how about the gift of travel? I mean, there's no better gift than, a certificate for future travel for a bride and groom, somebody who's graduating, somebody who, dreams of going somewhere. So that's one way that you can support small businesses, is through gift certificates. And, just so people know, you can do that with travel too.
Yeah. I think that's really important to, kind of keep looking for all those little ways that, we can connect and looking forward. And I know, it's hard for some of us too, because, small business owners ourselves, we're trying to support other small businesses, but, not sure about the future of our own small business, and so on and so forth. So obviously you talked about, starting to put plans in place for the future so that you're ready to go. I mean, we're doing the same thing, telling clients, I personally am encouraging people that don't need to move right now to just hold on. I mean, that's just kind of where my philosophy is sitting right now. I think people that need to move, there's a lot of factors that are in place that do make it, a pretty decent time to do so, but there's enough there that's like, let's stay hands off if we can for right now.
Sure.
That's a good idea. I mean, just little things, even like, you don't know if somebody's going to lose their job or, what's going to come up. So I'm encouraging people to put things off, but have those conversations now, just like you are, right? To have those conversations right now. But there's other things, is there a way that people can, support you, whether it's getting the word out about you, talking to people about you, anything else that people can do to kind of help keep things going so that you're ready to serve them when they're ready to go?
Yeah, that's a good point. Word of mouth has been, our best resource for the last 4 years. So we often ask people once they come back from their trips, would you give us a statement? Would you, a testimonial that we can post somewhere? And, people have offered some really great, kind words to support our business that we have asked if it was okay to post on our website or on Facebook. And so there's lots of ways that you can support your businesses and keep everybody, up and positive through social media. And, if we're all in this together, we're all working together, we can share these kind words and thoughts, and they really go a long way. So that, that's one great way that we can kind of share feedback with each other in a positive way.
Billie, is there anything else that you wanted to make sure you're able to share with people before we wrap this up? Is there anything else you want people to know?
Well, I want them to know that, I'm looking ahead, I'm staying positive, and when people, are ready and are feeling comfortable and ready to hit the world, to give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to move out of this phase and into a time where we can make those dreams come into a reality, and we can go and see and do the things that we've been waiting for a while to do.
Yeah.
So the time will come.
I hope so. I needed that beach vacation for spring break. I really, really did. So I
know, isn't it weird that like you were wanting to hit a beach, and now for the last, 50, 60 days, right now I just dream of like maybe leaving Oregon or Madison at some point.
Right, going out to eat. Yeah.
Right, like I just want to go to a restaurant.
I know. We'll get there though. We'll get there.
So want the kids to go back to school.
That's kind of I think that's good for them. It's best for them, for sure.
How are they doing with having to be home and doing school from there?
I think we're doing okay. I'll be real honest that in our house, despite the fact that my wife is a teacher and was a teacher, we are not at all pretending like we are homeschooling. That's not what we're trying to do here. So, we do try to check in with them, just make sure they're doing okay. And, we're getting messages from a couple teachers about missing work and so on and so forth. But, I guess our approach is really, this is a lot. We have a daughter that is in like almost the peak of her social existence right now. Had that torn away from her. And, boys that need to get out and run and play and do things. And our kids have lost their spring sports seasons, which is something that keeps them active. And we know that the physical activity is a huge piece of their overall health and mental health and stuff. So, really, we've just really tried to do what we can to try and make sure that everybody's feeling okay, and
right.
If school's getting done,
confusing and overwhelming.
Yeah, if school's getting done on top of that and getting that, like, that's great, and we're proud of them for that and happy about that. But also trying to be realistic that, like, if we do go back to school in the fall and, my kids had 2 months of less than stellar schoolwork, I think they're probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
We'll be okay. We'll make it. So, so that's how we're holding it. I think really the hardest thing for us is trying to manage work, with kids being around without having them in front of a device or a computer for 10 hours a day. Because that's not good. So
right.
That's, I think, been one of the biggest challenges. What about you?
And the physical part, both our family too. We're used to being out and having multiple sports going on right now.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing a lot of family walks and bike rides, and I know they're looking forward to a day where they can get together with friends face to face.
I think we all are. I think I'm going to try to put out like a driveway party at some point here. They can meet in the street and at least see each other. So,
right.
We'll see. Although I've seen people too do like the pull into a parking lot and sit in the back of your van. I think that's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll try.
I think that's a great idea.
I think it'd be fun. Maybe I'll try
flip up the tailgate and.
Yeah. Everybody have drinks and drive. I don't know about that part.
Depends on what parking lot.
All right, Billie. Last thing then, before we get going, is how can people find you or connect with you and Be Adventurous Travel? What's the best way for people to learn more or get in touch with you?
Well, our website, beadventuroustravel.com, will get them to us by email, by phone. We're local in Oregon, so I welcome phone calls, emails, just even a distance visit right now. Or we can, video chat, but our number is 873-4998. Otherwise through the website, or our email is beadtravel@gmail.com. So whatever way works for people, they're welcome to contact us in any way.
You on social media too? Got a social
Yep.
media? Okay.
Facebook and Instagram, Be Adventurous Travel.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you, Billie, for taking some time to chat today. It's really good to see you. I know we're supposed to be sitting by each other at a lacrosse game this Saturday or something. But,
I know. Having a pretty fabulous coach for those girls too.
Yeah. But it is good to see you. I was kind of expecting Eric's face to peek in behind you over the corner there a little bit, but good to see you. Good to chat. I appreciate you taking the time to connect with us, and we wish you the best.
Good to see you as well. And tell Michelle and the family we say hi. Eric would have stuck his head in here, but just a little bit ago he realized Charlie's was looking for some help putting food together, so he ran down there.
That's awesome. Good for him. Good for you guys.
Hi to everybody. Thank you. I appreciate the call and seeing you. And next time we'll hopefully meet in person.
All right. Thank you, Billie.
Thank you. Have a great day.